Okay, so basically the preliminary maps have been shared on 910's map website. 910 is the guy who kind of like runs ASL. He does a lot of the work behind it. He was an old pro gamer. Anyways, he released a bunch of the maps with notes, the ideas that they're thinking about. These are not finalized. We don't even know 100% if they'll use all these maps, and if they do, will they be in the current forms that they're in right now? Probably not. It'll probably several things will probably get changed. So let's go ahead and go through these, and I'll show you what they're thinking about for the maps for the next season, which they haven't announced the dates yet. They always do the maps ahead of time, have the pro gamers test them out and stuff like that, and try to see like, okay, are these going to be high quality maps for the season? And I think that they actually have a goal for this season. I'll talk about that as we go through the maps. All right, first up, coming back, Dominator. It's just Dominator 2.0. This is the one that they used last season. Nothing to really go over here. No changes whatsoever. They're thinking this map's solid. Let's do it. All right. This next one that is coming back is Radion. But they are making some changes to Radion. So they are doing some pathing. They're like fixing some pathing issues that I guess existed like over here and over here. I'm not entirely sure what those were because I don't know if I've run into those or not. And they're just fixing some of the pathing between the mains and the naturals. I think you can see how they did that specifically in this area. This area looks a little bit different to me than what it looks like right now. Sometimes when you transfer workers, because they're coming from such a weird angle below here, I think they screw up a little bit. So that's getting fixed. But the biggest difference that they're making is a lot more buildable terrain. Let me show you what I mean by that. This is a heat map that shows, right, the red is where you cannot build and the non-red is where you basically can build. So they're actually increasing buildable terrain on the map, which is a very, very good thing. Recently in basically since Luna came out to stop the Great Nada from dominating the scene for the rest of our lives, they've been making maps with less and less buildable terrain. And recently they've been adding it back in, which is good because it's really silly, like when you can't get a missile turret down somewhere. So that's what that one will look like. Otherwise, the same map, basically. They're also going to be bringing back Metropolis, but they haven't started the changes yet, or at least they haven't made it public. There are going to be changes, they said, to Metropolis, but we don't know what those are. And honestly, I couldn't tell you what they're thinking as far as the changes go. The map plays out kind of weird. I'm not sure how they want to go about that, but yeah, there will be some changes there. And the last map that's coming back is going to be Polestar, which I'm actually really pumped about. Polestar was or is, I think, one of the best big macro maps. People might notice, like I practice on it a lot with people. It feels like kind of the good new macro map that exists. It kind of gives me like, it's like a better version of Vermeer or something like that. So very, very good map. They are changing a little bit just to show you. Okay, so for instance, on the ramps, instead of double eggs, there's going to be mineral patches. Okay, so you can see that on all these ramps and those mineral patches. It's just like a different way to do it. So eggs, the double egg really bugs a lot of stuff out. The mineral patch will be a lot cleaner, and you don't need high damage to get rid of it. Eggs have such high health, it can be hard. Like a Zerg, how are you supposed to really clean that if you want your Zerglings out or something? Not that Zerg gets affected by it that much, but like let's say that you're playing Terran. It can be hard to kill those eggs off, if you're playing like TVZ or something. And they really do screw things up. So I think that that's a good fix. They're also actually adding a little bit more buildable area, I think specifically on these paths, I'm pretty sure. They didn't give a heat map like they did for Radion, but they are going to make more buildable terrain. They're also fixing some of the worker pathing between main and natural. So that's good to hear. Any pathing fixing that they can do is always good. And apparently there were some other bugs, but I'm not clear on to what those were. So they're just kind of fixing that up. That's really good to see. So on to the new maps. The new maps are very, very, very cool. Okay, this is the most excited I've been about new maps in a while. I'm going to show you what is probably my favorite one first. Well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but let me just show it anyways. All right, so this here is Knockout. Okay, does this map look familiar to you? Well, if you're really hardcore into StarCraft, then the answer is going to be yes. This is a remake of Circuit Breaker. Circuit Breaker was one of our most played maps for years and years and years and years and years. Basically, from when Remaster came out until maybe 2021, we were playing on that map all the time. Here's a picture of it next to it to just kind of show you. You can really see how they've changed it here. Honestly, the new version looks so much better. So there was a lot of problems with Circuit Breakers, and I'll show you on that little Circuit Breakers map. So the double bridge, incredibly hard to get over. This area in general dictated a lot of games. Like Zerg would just sit here against Protoss and really control the game. Or if they were sitting defensively, they'd just go Hydra Lurker here. Let's say this is the Z base, right? Hydra Lurker here, and easily defend the bridges. You can't go over bridges in any matchup. It just doesn't work, right? So they had the ridiculous zone defense that you could never get through. Also, the middle was way too open, and the only buildable terrain in the middle was right here. So incredibly, incredibly difficult to actually push through this map. Just too wide open. Then you look at the new version, and there's some very interesting things going on in this new version. Okay, so we can look at it and say, okay, so let's look at the top right. Okay, so you can see they've got like the double mineral patches here that you can get rid of. Okay, great. Those are 0 minerals of those, so it just takes a few moments for an SCV to clear it all. So you got your natural, and then you do have a mineral only third up a ramp instead of, if you look over on the other one, right, you move over and it's down a ramp. So for instance, you'd have huge Hydralisk attacks down here, and you'd have huge Zealot Dragoon attacks down here against Protoss and Terran, right? And this base was incredibly hard to hold because of that. You look at this position, this is a good holdable location. You have this big ramp that you can go back down if you need to. Then you have this big ramp that you can actually enter the map more easily. And then if you look at this base, this is actually a base that you can set up and defend. If you look at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on the old Circuit Breaker, this base was one of the hardest to defend bases like ever made. These ramps were huge to run down. And if you look at, like, let's say that you'd rally here. Okay, here, let me clear this to make this more clear. So oftentimes you do something like rally here so that you have options on where to go. If your opponent attacks in, getting this stuff up there is really, really difficult. You look at this, it's like, oh, we have a ramp. We can actually just defend this base now. Very, very good. Then you look at the center of the map. Notice it's still very big in the center, but it's not as big. But the thing is, it's like this is wall here where I'm coloring. This is wall, but then you have these giant ramps. So this is still very movable, but it gives you multiple paths instead of Circuit Breakers, which is just one big, giant, ridiculously large area. On this new map, on Knockout, you have these different paths that are really interesting. And instead of being low ground bases, it's normal ground bases here at 3 and 9 o'clock. So really, really cool. The last thing I want to show you is a brand new feature. This is the first time I've ever seen something like this done, and it's this area. Okay? I made a little video to show you guys what this is going to look like. Let me play that real quick. Okay, so what you just saw there, that is... it's like a divot. So the middle of it is low ground. Now, the game updates vision a little bit irregularly. So as you saw, sometimes when you go across, the vision will pop away for a moment, and sometimes it won't pop away for a moment based on the speed of the unit. So it can go either way there. But this specifically is going to make it very, very hard, I think, for busts. Because if you place, for instance, if you place your wall correctly as Protoss, a Hydra bust is going to be having some amount of Hydras. First off, they're going to lose vision going down, possibly. It might blink out. Honestly, there'll be Hydras up on the other side. But you're going to have some Hydras on low ground, which means there's going to be missed shots. So this looks to me like it's a defensive measure. Anti-Soulkey text, someone says. I think so. And we're going to see more of that in this map pool, I believe, as well. Anyways, Knockout looks awesome. It's a really fixed version of Circuit Breakers. Circuit Breakers became very imbalanced over time. So I love these updates, and this looks like actually a really excellent new map. Okay, up next we have... All right, let's go to Litmus next. Now, Litmus probably looks familiar to you as well. For me, like people were mentioning Butter. I don't think it really is much like Butter. I really think this is a remake of Dark Origin. I'm going to go ahead and just show, I believe I have a picture of Dark Origin here. So you can see Dark Origin on the right. This map was very imbalanced. We had cool PVZs here, but every other matchup was really screwed up. Okay, so let me show what some of that is. So like you can see that the setup through the back is really, really similar. It looks basically the same, right? You have those mineral patches, then you have these stacked things. You have your natural normal. Here you can see it's a little bit like more constricted on the old map. And then you go up into this area and there's these bridges. And, you know, bridges, we talked about this already on the Circuit Breakers one. Bridges are, you just can't go over bridges in any matchup. Bridges are bad. It's like the most defensive thing. And the thing is, the race that has map control just sits outside the bridges and ruins the game. So it's like, and that can be in just about any matchup where it's like, oh my God, like you can't get over there anymore. But anyways, looking at the new version of this, and I do think this is basically a fixed up version of Neo Dark Origin. I like it. I think it looks very solid. Okay, so taking a look at it, yeah, you have this area that could be a little bit difficult to deal with. Your main is very big. Notice that there's a second geyser in here, but the second geyser doesn't have much gas. This geyser only has 1,500 gas. So, you know, that doesn't last that long. That's like 5 minutes of gas mining, right? Like, wait, no. Yeah. A minute is 300 gas. Yeah, so it's about 5 minutes of full 2 geysers. Okay, so kind of an interesting choice there. If you look at the layout, the map, like I look at this and I'm like, there's things about it that make me feel like it's a pretty good Terran map. But then you look at how far away the third is, which I think is kind of interesting. So here's your natural, and you're going to have to push probably to here and hold this area, which is unbuildable terrain, to take this. Now, the thing is, if you are holding this general area, this map probably becomes pretty damn good for Terran because you have this set of 3 bases. This is easy to take. This isn't too hard to take, right? But we have some pretty decent bases over on the side. There's a lot of bases on the map. I honestly don't know how this map exactly will end up playing out, but it's definitely a very interesting one. It looks much better than Neo Dark Origin. It looks like it's a wider map, which is really good. Yeah, and better attack paths for sure. Let me just pull up Neo Dark Origin one more time to show how bad the attack paths were here. Like, look at the attack paths. So let's say you're here. It's like, well, you can go over bridges into the big, huge center, but then there's like this path and then like this path, and that's it. And don't tell me that this is a path. No one ever attacked like that, okay? So it's like, if you look at the new map, I think it looks a lot better. It's like, okay, we can actually have battles up in this area very easily. I can definitely see really weird stuff where back here becomes important for some reason. But the thing is, this is so far away, like maybe you want to skip that and just go up. And the thing is, you can go up in so many different directions. This just looks like a vast, vast improvement to me. So that's Litmus. Oh, and actually, there was one more thing on Litmus I did want to point out here. There's actually temples right here. So those are killable. So then you're going to have 4 ways to get on this high ground. Now, I don't quite understand that. I guess it allows you to go from center to the side Like, let's say that you have center control. You're in this area. This feels like it's going to be a really important area, whoever's holding this. And I guess that you can go from there and go like this to get onto this side of the map really quick, because otherwise it looks more like this. Let's say you're standing here. You're like, okay. So I guess, yeah, I like maps becoming easier to move on over time. All right, get rid of Litmus. And I think this next map I'm about to show you, and this is the last map that I have to show you here today, Udmok. So this is going to be the one that's going to be crazy. Is that not the craziest map you've ever seen? Okay, so Udmok is actually like a strait in Korea that has very fast currents. Okay, so it translates to Screaming Sea. I don't know what they're going to end up calling it for English, if they're going to switch it to that or call it Udmok, whatever. So let's take a look. It's first off, it's a 2-player map, right? 1, 2. Actually, let me switch. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so you have it's a 2-player map. Let's just look, I guess, at top right. So here's your main. Go to your nat. Okay, here's a third. A fourth? Whoa. Look at this quadrant here. 4 bases before you cross this bridge. By the way, this gives me River of Styx vibes. I don't know if any of you played that map when you were a kid, but yeah. And then you look, and there's islands down here. 1, 2, 3 islands. Then you got this island, which when I was a kid, I would always land something there, like put a ghost there or something. And then you have this island up here. And by the way, this island in the top left corner is the only one with a mineral patch in the middle. This is just an 8 mineral patch that you see. This is so you can't float command centers to islands. Because it's like, well, damn, that seems like it would be broken. Honestly, I don't know if it is at this point, because everyone plays mass shuttle style and things like that. And, you know, so I'm not entirely sold that you really need that, but that's the only one with it. So they're leaving these other ones so that you could theoretically float a command center there. Okay. A couple things to note here. Okay, we have really lower mineral and gas counts at a lot of these bases, okay? So this one, these two both have 1,000 minerals and 2,000 gas each. So they're very similar if you think back to Neosylphid. The little pocketed third base, that's basically what those are. That's like, I think that's the stats that were on those, 1,000, 3,000, I'm pretty sure. Or 1,000, 2,000. Okay, now these expos are 1,000, 3,000. So a little bit more gas on the high ground. Kind of interesting that they're doing that. You know, it's easy to get the 4 bases, but these run out very quickly. Okay, and then you have this top left island is a 1,000, 3,000. So this one is the same as this and this. And then these 3 are 1,500, 5,000. So these are normal bases. Further away, I guess harder to defend. These are normal, just like here and here. So these are normal. These are real fast. And these 3 are kind of fast. So I look at this map. Now, historically, what happens on island maps? Why do we not have island maps? It's because Zerg normally gets a bit screwed, right? That is normally why. Because like if you look at Sparkle, they overdid it in the other direction. The reason they added a bunch more gases, and they in fact added one only Zerg could take, was because Zerg normally gets destroyed on islands. Because it's like, well, I mean, how do you do it? Your opponents can get all this splash damage for your mutas, and you have to go mutas, but then you also have to go drops and drop a drone there. I mean, obviously, once you have Nidus set up, you're in good shape, but that's easier said than done. So it feels to me like the idea here is anti-Zerg, like we saw already on some of the other maps, like we saw on the Circuit Breaker remake Knockout, that thing where it's like, okay, Hydra Bus probably shouldn't ever work here. And then we're seeing a map full of islands, which historically has been hard for Zerg. So I do wonder, because, right, when Flash was going for his 4th ASL, they made the most anti-Terran map pool we've ever seen. Soulkey's going for his 5th ASL. Last ASL did not have anti-Zerg maps by any means. They were good Zerg maps. Are we seeing them bend everything towards anti-Zerg? It really might be the case. It really might be the case. Anyways, I think that the maps so far are very cool. I expect to see quite a few changes from all of these. Yeah, and I'm excited about it though. It's really cool to see these pop up and getting shown off. I'm sure that we'll see some matches start to go off on them. They are downloadable as well. So yeah, I guess I'll leave a link in the description as well. So yeah, let me know what you think about these, and thanks for watching.